If you bought one copy of each book on this list, you could buy yourself a Tales of Suspense number 39 and a Journey into Mystery 83. Welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher.
So let's jump right into it. We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review.
What is going on, YouTube, and welcome back to the show. This is your host Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles, and thank you for joining me for another video here on the channel. Today, of course, is our Hot 10 breakdown of the week, where we go over the 10 hottest comics according to the Key Collector app. But before we get into it, like always, guys, if you're not a subscriber of the channel, do me a favor, hit that sub button for me. You will not regret it. Smash that like button because it really helps the channel out. With that said, let's get into this week's Hot 10. Starting off the list this week and back on it is a copy of All-Star Western number 10 and the first appearance of Jonah Hex. You remember that god-awful movie that came out with Josh Brolin not too long ago? Regardless, we had a CGC 9.0, a super high-grade copy, sell last week for $1,100, up 3% over the average. We also had a CGC 8.5 copy, sell for $790, up 11% over the average. Do people out there really think that James Gunn is going to use Jonah Hex in a future DCU movie? You may never know, it may happen, but I'm not betting on it and spending $1,100 of my hard-earned money on this book. I'm staying away. Coming in at the 9th spot this week is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 361 and the first appearance of Carnage, and a CGC 9.8 just sold last week for $585, up a whopping 45% over the average. To me, that is nuts to spend almost $600 on this book. There are so many copies out there. I remember a few years ago, people were buying this book hand over fist. They were taking tremendous losses a year later. Again, if you want to own the book, I'm all for it in lower grade, just to have as your run filler, cool key, first appearance of Carnage. Other than that, there's no way in hell I'm spending $600 on it. Stay the hell away. Falling to number 8 this week is a copy of Web of Spider-Man number 1, where the new third ongoing Spider-Man series starts, in a CGC 9.8 just sold last week for $203, up 17% over the average. Again, I love this book, Web of Spider-Man number 1. I remember when it was a $15 to $20 book not too long ago. Now all of a sudden at a 9.8, over $200. Hell no, I want to own the book, but not at this price. You can get a lower grade copy for cheap. I'd add it to the collection. Other than that, you guys know how I do it. I'm staying away. At number 7 this week, and I think it's the first time on this list, is a massive key. It is a copy of Spawn number 1. I'm kidding, guys. There are about 10 million copies of this one. We all know that. Regardless, it is the first appearance of a great character, Spawn, and a CGC 9.8 just sold the prior week for $199, up 18% over the average. There was news out there last week that Todd McFarlane is almost done with the script for the Spawn movie that should be coming out over the next couple of years. Hopefully that's true. I am looking forward to seeing that movie when it does come out. I will say this, I love that old movie with Michael Jai White and John Leguizamo. Instant classic. Either way, I don't want to spend $200 on a 9.8 copy of Spawn number 1. Way too many copies out there for me to own this book, but hey, if you bought one back in the day for $5, definitely worth it. Hell, if you bought one recently for $20, totally worth it. But not at a 9.8 and not for $200. At the 6th spot this week is another monster key. Oh no, this time I mean it, guys. It is a copy of Amazing Spider-Man number 6 and the first appearance of the Lizard, Curt Connors, and a CGC 7.5 just sold last week for an insane $3,850, up 23% over the average. Then we had a CGC 5.0 sale for $1,545, up 13% over the average. Then we had a CGC 4.0 for $1,250, up almost 30% over that average. What is driving this book right now? You guys know I love Silver Age Spider-Man. It's right in my wheelhouse. I definitely want to own this book, and I know you can get a deal on this book if you search really hard. I definitely want to own it. The best book, in my opinion, on this list so far. Coming in at number 5, how about some 1980s nostalgia? It is a copy of G.I. Joe number 1 and the first team appearance of G.I. Joe members, in a CGC 9.8 newsstand copy just sold for $1,500, up 10% over the average. I always remind you guys this, about 3 years ago, this book was going absolutely insane. Direct, newsstand, it did not matter. I'm not spending $1,500 on a 9.8, and to me, that's the only copy I want to buy. Unless you could find one for cheap just to add to collection, I can't see spending this amount of money on the first appearance of G.I. Joe in comics. To me, it just doesn't make sense unless you're a massive G.I. Joe fan, and even then, I'd rather own some of the toys. Dropping to number 4 this week is the king of all comic books. It is a copy of Omega Men number 3 and the first appearance of Lobo. Yes, you heard me right, the king of comics. Not really, guys. We just had a 9.8 copy of this book sell for $395, up 14% over the average. Do you believe that there are over 2,200 copies graded by CGC in a 9.8? 2,200. That's almost the amount of total graded of Incredible Hulk number 1s. I don't want to spend anywhere near $400 for a 9.8 copy of this book. I may be wrong on this because this book keeps showing on the list and it keeps going higher. Maybe it does get to 500. I don't know. Either way, I think it's too much money to spend on this book. Back on the list at number 3, some more 1980s nostalgia in the form of Transformers number 1 and the first team appearance of the Autobots and the Decepticons, and a CGC 9.8 newsstand copy of their first appearance just sold last week for $2,800, up 8% over the average. Almost $3,000 for a 9.8 newsstand copy. What could I do with $3,000 right now? I can go out and probably buy a really low grade Journey into Mystery 83, possibly a 0.5 Tales of Suspense 39. That is always a book I'd rather own over this one. If you could buy a direct edition for cheap, I would say under $100 or around $150. That's what I do. Other than that, save your money, put it towards a better book. At the 2 spot this week is the second biggest comic of all time. It is a copy of Wolverine number 1 and the first appearance of Wolverine in his own solo title, and a CGC 9.8 just sold last week for $761, up 12% over the average. Then we have a better priced CGC 9.4 copy for $188, up only 1% over the average, yet this book is still at number 2. I don't know, I'm ready for this book and Omega Men number 3 to get the hell off the list, but right now this is what people are buying. I don't get it. Again, if you can get that 9.4 copy for around $150, I'm down just to own a book. I saw a great copy for sale by Jam Comics over at New York Comic Con this weekend. Super high grade, $100. That was a good deal. So there are deals out there on some of these books, but at these prices, I'm staying away. And coming in at the top spot this week for the 740th time in a row, it is a copy of Uncanny X-Men number 130 and the first appearance of the Dazzler, and of course the second appearance of Emma Frost and Kitty Pryde. And a CGC 8.5 newsstand copy had a new record sale of $250, up 9% since August. Then we had a CGC 7.0 newsstand copy sell for $175, up 17% since August. Then we had a lowly CGC 4.0 newsstand issue sell for $110, up a crazy 90% since 2022. Hey, I like the character, and if you're an X-Men fan, you want to own this book, I'm all for grabbing a lower grade copy, mid-grade at the very least. Regardless, I don't want to spend all this money for the first appearance of Dazzler. It's all hype because of Taylor Swift. I want to own the book, but not at these prices. I say it over and over and again. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Some good books on the list, but there's no way in hell I'm paying some of these prices. I said at the start of this video, if you bought all these books on this list, you would have about $9,000 in change, and God knows what I could do with $9,000 in this comic book market. Hope you enjoyed the video. This is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics and Collectibles saying thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys soon.